In this video, we will learn about the animal tissues. Based on their structure, function, location, they are divided into 4 different types. First is the epithelial tissue, second is connective tissue, third is muscular tissue, and fourth one is the nervous tissue. First, we will try to understand the epithelial tissue, which is the outermost and as well as the innermost layer in the body, which helps in protection. So, epithelial tissue are protective animal tissues. They occur in the form of sheets that have one free surface. Now, the location, if we see, as I mentioned earlier, they are the protective covering. So, they are present all over the body, either outside as well as inside. So, they cover the body as well as the internal organs. Epithelial tissue lines the body cavities and the cavities of all the hollow organs like the blood vessels. It lines the buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, nose, air tubes, lungs, and all blood vessels. Now, if we see the characteristic feature, how do they look? So, these are closely placed or compactly packed cells, and there will be no intercellular space. The epithelial tissue forms the outer covering is called as epithelium, and the one that lines the cavities is known as endothelium depending on the location. So, epithelial cells rest on a basement membrane, which is a non-cellular structure, gelatinous in nature. And epithelial cells may be flat, cuboidal, or columnar depending on the location and functioning, and they do not have any blood supply. Now, functional part, if we see, these are associated with protection, example in our skin, help in absorption and secretion in our intestine, help in excretion in case of kidney tubules. They help in sensory perception and gamete formation in testes and ovaries. Now, there are different types of epithelial tissue based on the structure as well as function. So, first is based on the cell shape and the layers. So, if we say the shape, there are 3 main shapes. One is the squamous, that is the flat cells. Then we have cube-shaped epithelium, which is the cuboidal. Then we have columnar epithelium. Now, columnar epithelium can have modifications where it can have cilia on the free surface, or it can be glandular, that is help in secretion, or it can be sensory epithelium. Now, based on the number of layers, we can have simple epithelium, which is made up of a single layer of epithelium resting on a basement membrane and having nucleus, of course. And it can also be of multi-layered structure. So, we'll have one single basement and we'll have multiple layers of epithelial cells lying on top of each other. So, it is known as stratified epithelium. Now, if we take the first, depending on the layers, first is the simple epithelium or the single layered epithelium. So, here the basement membrane is present and on top we have one single layer of squamous epithelial cells, and it is flat, and you can see it is compactly arranged and there are no intercellular space between these cells. So, squamous epithelium is formed of flat plate-like hexagonal cells placed edge to edge like a tiles on the floor. So, hence they are also known as pavement epithelium, because it gives a pavement-like appearance. So, the cells are so thin that the location of the nucleus is marked by the bulge. So, if you see from the side view, this will be our basement and thin cell. So, the nucleus will have a bulge. So, wherever you see the bulge, this will be our nucleus. So, if we see the location, these are found in the lining of the alveoli of the lungs, Bowman's capsule of kidney, membranous labyrinth of internal ear, blood vessels, heart chambers, coelom, epidermis of skin, buccal, epithelium of man, so on. So, basically wherever easy exchange of materials is needed, you will find squamous epithelium. Second is the cuboidal epithelium. So, here we can see the cell is a cube shaped. We can imagine a 3D structure. So, it is formed of single layer of cube shaped cells. These cells also appear hexagonal or polygonal in surface view, but we have to imagine the 3D. So, nucleus is not in a bulged form. It is centrally placed and it has enough space. If we see the location, it forms the lining of kidney tubules, ducts of salivary glands, pancreatic glands, thyroid gland, germinal epithelium of gonads. So here its main function is to protect. Example, the ducts of the glands or kidney tubule. Secretion in case of pancreatic glands, thyroid gland, so on. Absorption, excretion and gamete formation are its other functions. Next we have columnar epithelium, which is a pillar-like cylindrical cell where the nucleus is also elongated and it is placed towards the base or towards the basement membrane. So the free surface of the columnar cells of the intestine is produced into fine finger-like projections known as the microvilli. So basically, if this is a normal columnar cell, and the modification that we see in the intestine will have a free end having these projections or the invaginations. So this helps increase the surface area for absorption. Now if we see the location, they are found in the lining of nasopharynx, stomach, intestine, gallbladder, larynx and oviducts. And it is also found in sweat glands and sebaceous gland, which is a oil secreting gland, and its main function includes secretion in most of the part and absorption, especially in the small intestine. Next we have the modifications of columnar based on the presence of structures on the free surface. There are three modifications. One is the ciliated epithelium. So here we can see small hair-like structures on the free surface. So this helps in movement of materials. So it is located in the lining of nasal passage, trachea, oviducal funnel and parts of oviduct and uriniferous tubules. So basically, if something is located towards this side of the cilia moves back and forth to push these materials in a particular direction. So cilia moves in rhythmic fashion to make sure substances move in a particular direction. Second, we have glandular. As the name says, it helps in secretion of certain substances. So these are modifications where we need the secretion of enzymes in case of stomach, secretion of hormones, etc. These are found in the lining of stomach, intestine, sweat gland and tear gland. Other secretory glands can also have this modified columnar cells. They occur either in unicellular manner or they can also be a multicellular glands. Unicellular gland example is this goblet cell, which secretes mucus in our stomach or the alimentary canal. So if we take multicellular gland, it will be complex structure like sweat gland or oil gland, that is the sebaceous gland, our salivary gland which secretes saliva, tear gland, mammary gland which secretes the milk. Next modification is the sensory epithelium. So sensory epithelium contains sensory cells. On the free end, they produce a structure known as sensory hair. So as and when this receptor receives a stimulus, it will generate a impulse so that our sense organs can get impulse and transmit to the nerve cell. So location, these are mainly found in the sense organs, basically taste buds on tongue, auditory epithelium of ear and olfactory sacs of nasal chamber. Now sensory epithelium picks up external changes of the environment and transmit the information. And the second type of epithelium is the multi-layered epithelium, which is the stratified epithelium. So this is formed of several layers. The upper layers may be dead squamous epithelial cells. These are mainly found in the structure where aberrations or the more strength is required. Example, skin, oral cavity, esophagus. So these cells are tough and they provide protection to the underlying cells and tissues against mainly the mechanical injuries. I hope it is clear to you. Thank you.